Welcome aboard. This is Captain G with episode 3 of our Order of Battle series, Germany. We move across this very busy and filled table and start with our infantry class units and the kneeling, crouching sculpts representing all of our militia. Out of the box infantry for Germany, and then next is the blue base Marines. That is a World War I sculpt from HBG. Love this sculpt, carrying his gear, attacking with his bayonet, coming off the beaches, moving with purpose. Took the point off the top of his helmet, but otherwise great sculpt. Very happy with this choice as a Marine. Airborne, white base for the regular, white and black for the elite. Also in black for elite infantry, although technically it is a vehicle class unit, is the German Panzer Grenadiers. That sculpt is from the America game. I really like the look of that one. And again, when in the games they're treated as a vehicle class unit, I just choose to represent them with infantry because it's infantry that make the Panzer Grenadiers different than all the other vehicles. And then with his backpack and brown base, our German Mountaineer. There are such a wide variety of different infantry sculpts, particularly for Germany and their allies, that I've decided to also give a unique sculpt for each of the main Axis minor nations in Europe that joined Germany in the war against the Soviets. So starting at the bottom with the submachine gun and the gray coat is the Hungarian Infantry. Then with his bayonet in an attack position in his Eastern European helmet, Romania. Also with his Eastern European helmet and a Panzerfaust, Bulgaria. And then finally trudging through the snow in his greatcoat and sniper rifle, the Finnish infantry. So those are my German Axis minor allies. Moving to the artillery class units. The front row being German units, the second row being their Axis minor counterparts as applicable. With the far left starting with the house rule artillery emplacement. Then the out-of-box Axis and Allies Europe anti-aircraft unit, which again I got from HBG when they had them available. The out-of-box artillery, and I only had a handful of these German artillery. I really liked them, but I didn't have enough for Germany's needs. So I switched to this HBG artillery and then gave the German unit to their minor allies. Red is for the heavy artillery. German self-propelled artillery. Also self-propelled artillery for the minor allies. This is a great sculpt I really like from Combat Miniatures. That's Hungary there, but all of the countries have at least one. And then for heavy self-propelled artillery, for the siege cannons. Moving to the vehicle class, I have the German cavalry and armored car class. Motorized infantry with the yellow. This has a tread which could be mistaken as mechanized, but my intent was for it to be motorized, hence the yellow paint. And then when I went to the minor allies, I made sure to get the wheeled truck. Chose the open back 3D version just to distinguish it a little bit more from Germany. German mech, advanced mech with the red, orange barrel on the two types of tank destroyers, German and their minor allies. Panzer II is our light armor. And then we go to medium armor, and there's a wide variety of medium armor here. The Panthers are out of the box. That's the main German armor unit. The black is from Axis and Allies 1941. Germany and Japan come with those Tiger tanks. I painted them black to make them elite units, but not necessarily advanced. With the coming of version 4 rules where the Tiger tank is a separate unit, I went and got some very detailed, great looking HBG Tiger tanks to serve that purpose. Again, separate and distinct from the King Tigers, who are my heavy tank. And then also for the Axis Minor Allies, this is a great looking Hungarian tank that I got from Combat Miniatures, and all of the minor allies signed in on that contract. Bulgaria, Finland, Hungary, they all use the same tank sculpt on my table. Moving to the Kriegsmarine. For transport, I still use the surfboard transport that I know a lot of people have replaced. Works for me, I'm happy with it. On the Kriegsmarine ships, it'll become very apparent that I have a lot of Imperial German flags. I do not use swastikas. I will not have them in my house or on my board, but I'm not offended by people who choose for historical accuracy to use them. I do not, so bear with me when you see the Imperial German flag. All right, so this is coastal submarine, fleet submarine, advanced submarine, torpedo boat destroyer, German destroyer, and I have my light cruiser with blue, heavy cruiser purple, battle cruiser black, coastal defense ship, and then the battleship in yellow, fast battleship orange, and Bismarck heavy battleship in red. And if they're ever on the table, Kriegsmarine carriers, purple for the escort or light carrier, and yellow for the fleet carrier, and Kriegsmarine aircraft use the light gray as opposed to the dark gray for the rest of the Luftwaffe. Also light gray are the seaplanes with blue tips, being a function of the Kriegsmarine rather than the Luftwaffe, at least in my table. And then I'll go to the main Luftwaffe. The transport, the German transport was available. I love the look of it, so I did not use the Axis and Allies classic bomber that I used for some of the other countries. I used the real German transport. And then for the new version 4 heavy transport, I decided to have fun. HBG's got a large variety of experimental aircraft and advanced prototype aircraft, so I picked one that I thought looked like a lot of fun, and you can imagine those I assume jet engine pods are really cargo pods for the transport, but that is my advanced heavy transport. Yellow tip for my fighters. I have two types of jet fighters with the red tips. The one on the right, the V-wing, I thought looked really unique, and that was my first set of jet fighters, but I had some trouble magnetizing them. They're a little delicate, so when I supplemented my jet fighters, I used the ME-262 on the left, but I really enjoy both of them, and I use both of them on my games. Also, another exception to the Axis and Allies classic aircraft you've seen already, the dive bombers. I do not use the classic fighters as tactical bombers. I use the Stuka dive bombers. Love the way that these looked, and HBG's done a great job with those as well. Bombers, 2-engine medium bomber, purple, 4-engine strategic bomber, black, 6-engine heavy strategic bomber in gray. So that completes the order of battle for Germany and their European minor allies. One thing I just want to show here, you may have seen it before, that was a sculpt that I got in a sample pack from Alternate Ending Games. Really like it. It reminds me a lot of the aircraft that I use in the America game that my son and I still play. I love this game. we use it as sort of the end game nuclear bomber. If the Axis is going to win, then the German player gets that on their table. If the Allies are going to win, there's a giant B-52 bomber that flies over Washington. But it's not in gameplay. So with that, this video for the Order of Battle for Germany comes to an end. I've been Captain G. Hope you enjoyed the video. Over and out.